So, I was never actually a CreepyPasta's kid, even though it seemed to be right up my alley, but to be honest, I was an anxiety-ridden, easily frightened teenager, and well, I'm an anxiety-ridden adult, but about boring things like bills and social awkwardness and my unknowing purpose in a superficial capitalistic society in a vast, mostly empty, unknowable universe. What was I saying? Oh, right. So I actually missed the creepypasta phase as a teen when Slenderman and Smiledog had the internet's nards in a vice. In fact, I was kind of scared of Slenderman, but among them was Jeff the Killer, a creepy teen serial killer with a smile like Kujisaki Onna. And what I've heard of his backstory is one of the most I'm 13 and this is the deepest things I've ever read of. Out of the 3 origin stories I've heard, his face was burnt off by bullies. His parents tried to kill him because he was ugly? ? And he spilt bleach on himself while trying to clean the bathroom. And any of those 3 things made this. And I got thinking about all of this when I came across the infamous picture again. Giving it a quick search, there are a lot of copypastas, fanfictions, and adaptations of Jeff the Killer's story, and I kind of want to make my own angsty version of the creepypasta. Yeah, I'm behind on the fad like a decade, but I've already got an idea and I'd like to build upon it. So here's not only my version of the story, but I'm going to design and draw my own version of the notorious Jeff the Killer. For the first change, this all takes place in late 90s, early 2000s. And for my second change, Jeff is no longer a teenager. No, Jeffrey Cornelius Vance is 22 and has just graduated university with a degree in automotive engineering and is working with his father at their family-run garage as a mechanic. He loves fixing up motorcycles and is a metalhead, still living with his mother and father as he saves for his own place. Jeffrey also has a little brother, Lewis, who is and is becoming more of your typical rebellious trouble teen. He's become more and more reclusive and antisocial, not being able to keep many friends until not having any at all, along with stealing cigarettes and smoking while he skips class. Jeffrey, in all his big brother wisdom, has tried to relate to his brother many times. He's gotten into trouble himself, smoked a few cigarettes, skipped a few classes, with his own rebellious period, but he and Lewis never really got to see eye to eye. Lewis even began to become resentful of Jeffrey, seeing him more as a golden child and himself more of the black sheep, and falls in with a bad crowd at school. A little wannabe gang that hangs out at the junkyard after school, drinking, smoking, getting high. One day Lewis is sitting in the junkyard complaining about his perfect brother when the others convince him to let them into the garage after closing to steal the money in the office. Wanting to impress them, he agrees, and the next night Lewis steals an extra set of keys for them to break in, so to say. Only to open the door and find Jeffrey and their father still working on a car. Panicked that their simple plan to rob the garage is ruined, the gang kids pull out weapons, pocket knives, brass knuckles, and lead pipes, things like that. Jeffrey and Lewis's father tries to de-escalate the situation, but the kids are already anxious and scared that they talk a big game, but none of them has ever seen the inside of a cell, and knew they'd never survive if they ever really find themselves in one. And sadly, one of them, holding a lead pipe, lashed out, hitting Jeffrey's father in the head, accidentally killing him. Jeffrey, horrified, runs to his father only to be savagely beaten too. Broken ribs, broken nose, a lot of blows to the face and legs. Jeffrey just lay curled up, bruised and bloodied over his father's body. The gang freaking out, not realizing they'd killed a man, but knowing for sure they'd just broken into a business and assaulted the owner and his son, decide to set the garage on fire. Lewis finally takes a stand though and refuses to do it, getting a good punch in the gut for finally growing a backbone, and was left with his family. They pour gasoline around the room, on Jeffrey and on his father's body, and set everything alight, fleeing the scene as soon as they do. Jeffrey screams, his skin and clothes melting together into one, then melting into his father's clothes. Lewis drags him out and the 2 brothers survive the blaze, but Jeffrey is severely burnt right now, down to the bone. Jeffrey wakes up in hospital a few days later, A lot of skin on his face is gone and his left eye no longer functions. He wakes up in excruciating pain to his grieving mother, who on top of this horrible pain he's feeling has to reveal that his father's dead. Jeffrey is distraught and cries with his mother. His mother is just happy that he's alive. Later on, Jeffrey is given a new experimental painkiller, Monoxycontin, and while it helps exponentially, along with the fact he's a guinea pig for it, meaning he's receiving it for free, he unknowingly is becoming addicted and dependent on it. Jeffrey finally is able to leave the hospital, but the family is quickly running out of money between the hospital debts, paying the father's funeral, and Lewis has been stealing money for cigarettes and drugs. You see, Lewis is actually incredibly unnerved by his brother's appearance now. He's actually incredibly afraid of him. Finally, Jeffrey is discharged from hospital, only to unfortunately come home to money woes. His mother has been paying for the funeral, the house, and Jeffrey's medical bills, and is now struggling to keep the lights on. Unbeknownst to them, Lewis is also stealing money here and there for cigarettes and weed. Jeffrey, while still recovering at home, catches Lewis going through his mother's purse for money, and is understandably upset, only for Lewis, the ever-selfish, to lie. Lewis tells Jeffrey that he needs the money because the kids that killed their father are forcing him to pay them protection money, otherwise they'll come back and burn down the house this time. Jeffrey, being the good big brother he is, says they can go to the police, but thinking quickly, Lewis tells him that they'll kill him if he involves the cops. Jeffrey becomes conflicted. He can't work yet because he's still recovering, but they're running out of money. His mother having to work while she grieves, and on top of that, Lewis is paying his father's murderers to stay away from them, adding to the financial strain. After a while, and a steady stream of Oxycontin beginning to dry up, Jeffrey makes a decision. If he could take these kids out of the equation, his family would be safe, right? So he goes to his father's study and takes the gun he kept in the safe, in the bottom drawer, and makes a vow to hunt down each of the kids that make up the wannabe gang that killed his father. He hunts down one that night while high on the experimental painkillers, shooting and killing them. He then dismembers the gun and hides each piece miles apart so they can't connect them. After this, he feels a complicated sense of justice wash over him, and then tracks down the next members. One he chokes out and makes it look like a hanging, writing a fake letter stating what her and the others did. The next he found drinking himself stupid and simply pushed him into the road, where he stumbles into the path of an oncoming bus. He was killed instantly. And then he finally found the last one, the one that killed his father with a pipe. He cornered him in a junkyard and beat him to death with the pipe, laughing maniacally and sobbing uncontrollably as he pulverized what was left of his dad's killer. But unbeknownst to Jeffrey, Lewis had just witnessed everything, as he'd returned to the junkyard and in search of his last friend. Jeffrey develops insomnia due to everything that's happened, and even starts to fear sleep, and his own guilty conscience that manifests as nightmares. And now Lewis fears his disfigured brother all the more. After a few days, the killings make the news. Delinquent gang found dead after their hit on local businessman and father of two. Jeffrey and his mother are up one morning and see it on TV. His innocent mother saying that they were messed up kids who got into things they shouldn't have, while Jeffrey agrees with her. Jeffrey heads off that morning to refill his prescription, leaving his little brother and mother at home, only to come back to them arguing. He intervenes, asking what's wrong, as his mother is sobbing. Lewis then demands Jeffrey confess to killing the teens. Jeffrey denies it, and the brothers start arguing. However, as they're fighting, Lewis accidentally lets it slip that the gang never took the money. Jeffrey realizes that Lewis is lying about the gang threatening the family. Their mother just sits at the coffee table crying, confused, not believing either of her sons could do anything wrong. Not like this. Not murder and extortion. They're interrupted, however, by the police, who were called by a neighbor. Lewis tells them he knows his brother killed the teens, and Jeffrey is arrested, leaving behind a new prescription and a heartbroken mother. Jeffrey is taken to the police station and held in a cell as the officers mull around, as there isn't enough evidence left at any of the scenes to hold him indefinitely, but in Jeffrey's head, and itching begins. It grows, then shaking legs and a restless demeanor. He's going through withdrawals. He's taken the monoxycontin for too long, and they've left their mark on his brain. He starts to hallucinate. He hallucinates his father, his skin burning off as he pleads for Jeffrey's help. He sees the bloodied, reanimated corpse of the teens, laughing and taunting him that even though they're dead, they still win. They took his father, ruined his brother, and now they've taken everything. Jeffrey loses it. He becomes completely unhinged and is being crushed under the magnitude of what he's done, and all of it being based on a lie. Horrified and now in pain, he's gone too long without his painkillers. He claws at his face, screaming and scratching until it bleeds, as the police run in to restrain him and take him to the medical bay. But his hallucinations continue. The officers flicker in and out of reality. Then they're replaced with the dead teens, zombified and taunting him as they drag him to the medical bay doors, which transition into the gates of hell themselves. He breaks out of their grip and runs off, finding a utility room with tools and tarps as the station seems to be doing repairs. He locks himself inside. His face is still bleeding. It's now streaming down his face burning and stinging. He's torn so much skin off, splitting the already fragile tissue, especially around his mouth, giving him a permanent smile. He catches a glimpse of his own reflection in a sheet of glass that's waiting to be installed. If you didn't think he was batshit insane before, he's finally tipped over the edge, and he knew exactly what he was going to do, because there was already no turning back. He uses a stapler and some nails, and in very literal terms, tries to fix up his face to the best of his insane logic. And then, armed with a nail gun and all the nails he can carry, he walks calmly back out into the hallway and tears through the building and anyone standing in his way. This night would go down in the town's history as one of the most terrifying nights since 1930, and all because of a dumb teenager and his lies and some horrible, horrible decisions. Jeff makes it all the way to his house after the bloodbath, his mother asleep on the couch in front of the TV. He kisses her once on the head, grabs a knife from the kitchen, and enters his brother's room. Lewis wakes up to him looming over his bed, blood still dripping from his face onto Lewis's sheets. Jeff slams the notebook to his brother's chest. You're gonna confess, and confess to everything. He stood over him, making him write a full confession to what he did, and he was the reason this all happened. And when he was done, he grabbed him by the scruff of his shirt. Now time to go to sleep. And the next morning, their mother woke up to silence. No Jeff, no Lewis, just a confession note. They never found Lewis, dead or alive, but most likely dead, and they never found Jeff. And that was my rewrite of the Jeff the Killer story. Now remember, it was just for fun. I've been toying around with rewriting something, and creepypastas are like the ghost stories of the internet. And no ghost story really stays the same. They change and mutate, but they still keep the core themes. So what do you think of my angsty take on Jeff the Killer?
Police are urging locals in the area to stay vigilant and safe after several gruesome killings have disturbed their own quiet suburbia. Jeffrey Cornelius Vance allegedly has now murdered over 25 people. Beginning with 4 teenagers, he then went on to kill all those on shift at the county police station. The search is still out for his younger brother Louis, who has been missing since Friday.